This video is going to run through the materials that you are going to be allowed to use for your final project. So I'm kind of getting them all lined up here so you can see them, and then I'll go through them one by one. So the first one is just a basic pencil. I believe mine's HB or 2B. Yeah, number 2 HB. And I'm going to show you a few different grips. So further back, like I'm holding it right now, is going to give you a lighter value, lighter pressure, lighter value. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a quick little line, light pressure, and then I'm going to switch my grip and move up on the pencil, and that's going to give me a darker value. Just by changing my grip, not even really trying to press that much harder, but just by holding the pencil closer to the point, you'll get a darker value. And I'm going to run through each of those in the same kind of manner. So the next one is going to be your ebony pencil. It says it right on there. It's quite similar to a regular pencil, but it's a little bit darker, and it's a little more shiny. I was motioning right there to the point of it. This one's really important that you have it sharp. My pencil sharpener just broke, so it's kind of a bummer. But again, you're changing your grip, and that's going to show you a change in value as well, okay? Even without having to really do too much. So if you're trying to get something that's lighter, we want to loosen up our grip and turn our hand towards the back end of the pencil. Next thing I'm going to show you is Vine. Personally, this is like the holy grail of art supplies in my mind. It's super breakable, so be careful. It's very fragile. It's great for sketching. It erases really easily. You can just erase it with your hand, essentially. It's awesome. This is great for outlines or for, your preliminary steps. Again, once we move our fingers up on the grip, it'll make it darker. Unfortunately, Vine doesn't get that dark, so you'll notice there's not too much of a change for this guy. The next one is going to be our charcoal pencil, okay? This has like a little string if you need to sharpen it, I guess you would call it. You pull it down, you just do one notch, and then you unravel the paper, okay? And that'll show you like a little more of the charcoal. You don't put that guy in the pencil sharpener at all. Again, with the loose grip for the lighter value, and then up a little bit will give you a darker value. Not that much of a difference in the video right now, but on my paper it does look different. And again, with a little more pressure, you can definitely get the blackest black probably with this charcoal pencil. Okay. Okay, so next step is going to be to find something round to trace for us to do another practice sphere. I truly believe that if you can get the sphere to look round, then these projects are going to be so much easier because you're going to understand how to use your materials better. So I kind of run through a whole bunch of them. My light source, my shadow, I'm kind of motioning towards right now. But I'm going to use all of the supplies to kind of show you what they're good for. And I'm looking at my regular pencil, I'm like, that's not the one. I decide the ebony pencil is kind of where I want to start. You can't really tell, but I move my paper throughout this whole thing. I have the camera attached to my sketchbook, so it kind of moves with it. I want to make sure that our hand is comfortable, so we don't want it to be moving. So right there, yeah, I just moved my sketchbook. So we want it to, we want our hand to be comfortable. If we're kind of putting it in really weird positions, it's going to be harder. So keeping our lines nice and curved, because a sphere is a curved object, okay? We don't want any vertical or horizontal lines. We want kind of like those rainbow or sea lines, however kind of you want to wrap your head around it. Okay, I'm not going super dark at first because I know that taking my time is really the way to get this to look more 3D, more realistic. Okay, so I begin to kind of add another layer where I know it's going to be darkest with that pencil, and then pretty soon I'm going to switch over to a different supply. So I'll fast forward until then. Okay, next up we have Vine, my favorite. So I kind of layer in where I know it's going to be darkest, just kind of reiterating where the light's coming from with that arrow there, going along that back side because I know that that side is going to be pretty dark, so I feel safe adding in, a darker value there. And then I kind of just work my way up with those nice curved kind of strokes, keeping it nice and even. I can't really hold the vine too far back because I just know it will break. So just keep that in mind as you are using it. It's okay if it breaks. It just means you have two pieces now. But if they start to get really small, they're kind of a pain to work with. So try not to break them. All right, I just keep layering it in, and I will fast forward until we get to the next step. Next up, we have our charcoal pencil, okay? I'm going to again start where I know that it's going to be darkest, that backside of the circle opposite of where the light is coming from with those C motions, okay? Once you get the charcoal on top of the vine and the ebony pencil, it is going to feel a little bit different than if you were just layering it on top of the paper, so the texture of it is going to feel a little bit different. Making sure that you're sticking with the C motion and then adjusting your grip as you need to and moving the paper. Oh, my hair is in the way. Sorry, guys. You know, relieving the pressure as you get kind of closer towards the light, like I'm doing right there, keeping that nice C or curved motion, okay? I'm going to fast forward a little bit until our next material. You'll notice what I did just there. I wiped my hand across it and I got charcoal everywhere. So keep that in mind because that can definitely happen and it's super frustrating. Try not to wipe your paper and use your eraser wisely. I'm going back in with the vine again to kind of tighten up that highlight at the top. I know that the white part is not that big, so I'm just adding in a little bit more. Then I'm going to use my finger to kind of blend it in. I know that a lot of you like the tortillions or the blending stumps as I call them. They're great. I think that they pick up a little bit too much of the charcoal off of the paper, so I prefer to either not use any blending material or to use my finger. There's just a little bit on there, and you can use one of the baby wipes to get it off. But I will show you kind of both of them. So I use my finger for the top part, and it is really nice and smooth. I noticed that with the blending stump, I personally I don't like it as much. It's up to you. Try both of them. But I do feel like it kind of picks up all of that hard work, and then you kind of have to go back in and add another layer, which I always just think is a waste of time. But again, if you find success with the blending stump, more power to you. Go for it. I don't have as much success with it. So at this point, I need to kind of go back in and add a little bit more value where my blending stump picked up more than I wanted to, kind of what I was mentioning. So I'm just going back in lightly and really getting that like dark shadow in the back a little bit more pronounced, okay? So I'll speed up until we kind of get to our shadow part. Our shadows are going to be the next part that we're going to do. Now that we're done with our sphere, we're going to lay in our shadow, okay? It's going to be directly opposite of where the light is coming from, and it's going to be very dark. So I'm going to go ahead and use my charcoal pencil. I do feel that that's the right choice because I know it's going to be super dark, okay? I'm using pretty heavy pressure, and I'm extending my shadow out. It is going to get a little bit lighter because light eventually is going to come around that other side of the sphere and kind of transition the shadow out. I use the vine to kind of even it out and then to add that medium gray value that you're seeing at this point. Okay, you can make your shadow as long or as short as you want to, but this kind of shows us that it's sitting on something. It's not just, our sphere isn't just floating in the air. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. I'll be here. All right, you guys have a great day. See you soon.